Listen, not with your ears, with your instinct. Because the ones watching you, they're not watching you the way the world watches a sunrise. They're watching you like a scientist watches a storm no one can predict. You've been moving, breathing, becoming, and they thought they were observing a pattern. But what they've found in you is not a pattern. It's a phenomenon. And now they're afraid, not of what you've done, but of what you're becoming. The kind of becoming that doesn't announce itself with noise or fireworks or approval. It simmers, it sharpens, and then it rises. You are that rising force, and they're analyzing you. But they never prepared for what they'd find. They thought you were predictable, manageable, boxable. They tried to put your spirit into their spreadsheet, tried to weigh your will with their metrics. But what do you do when the data doesn't make sense anymore? When the numbers scream but can't explain? When the silence before your actions starts to thunder in their minds like a coming quake? They peer into your habits, your patterns, your thoughts, even the way you stand in the silence. And they can't explain it, because what you've unconsciously created, what your grind in the shadows has built, is now standing tall enough to cast a shadow back over them. And it's unnerving. You were never made to be understood. You were made to be unleashed. They watched you wake up before the sun. They watched you take the hit, the loss, the insult, the rejection, and say nothing. But you didn't need to speak, because every moment you chose to keep moving forward, you were speaking a language they were never taught. And in that silence, you grew fangs. In that pain, you forged steel. While they were analyzing your performance, your potential, your psychology, you were turning into a paradox, a mystery, a threat to their certainty. Now they whisper behind closed doors, not because you've done something wrong, but because you've become something they don't understand. You created momentum they can't replicate. You built resilience no system can measure. You turned struggle into strategy and failure into fuel. You made peace with solitude. You learned how to bleed quietly. And in the silence of your becoming, you've summoned power. And now they're scared, because they know something you don't yet realize. They know that soon the world will see you for what you really are. Not a mistake, not an underdog, but a signal. A signal that the game has changed. A signal that the quiet ones, the broken ones, the forgotten ones, have figured it out. And there's no going back. You didn't even mean to become this. You were just trying to survive, to protect the light that kept flickering in your chest, even when the wind was howling. And in the effort to stay alive, you accidentally became undeniable. You became the proof they wish didn't exist. Proof that hardship doesn't destroy everyone. Proof that pain can be a teacher. Proof that no system, no label, no algorithm can define a soul that refuses to surrender. You didn't set out to scare them, but what you unconsciously created is starting to terrify them. They don't know what to do with you, because you don't crack the way others crack. You break, sure, but then you rebuild with stronger bones. You hurt, but then you sharpen your instincts. You stumble, but you use the fall to map the ground better. They thought you were weak because you were quiet, but quiet isn't weakness. Quiet is concentration. It's evolution. It's the prelude to power. They're watching, analyzing, trying to dissect what you are. They've never seen this kind of discipline, this kind of vision, this kind of refusal to quit. They're afraid because they don't know where it ends. How do you stop someone who doesn't need validation, who doesn't seek attention, who doesn't fear starting from zero again and again if it means finding the truth? You don't stop them. You watch them rise. And that's what you're doing now. Becoming uncontainable, uncopiable, unexplainable. They analyzed you. And instead of finding limits, they found depth. Instead of fragility, they found intensity. Instead of compliance, they found conviction. They thought you were just another cog in the machine. But you turned the machine off, rebuilt yourself outside of their system. Now you're playing a different game. One that requires no permission, no applause, no gatekeepers. They look at you now and realize, this wasn't supposed to happen. People like you aren't supposed to wake up, aren't supposed to push back, aren't supposed to become something else. But you did. In the dark, you did. And now the light you're walking into isn't just any light. It's the fire you built with your own hands from every broken moment they thought would destroy you. You're not rising because they want you to. You're rising because you must. Because the world needs to see what happens when the underestimated rise, when the broken refuse to stay broken, when the unheard become undeniable. What they found when they analyzed you wasn't weakness, it was awakening. And now the only question is, how far will you go? They called you inconsistent, but they didn't see your transformation. They said you were lost, but they didn't realize you were searching for something real. They dismissed your silence, but they didn't understand your silence was a strategy, a place where legends build themselves without noise. They tried to track your progress like a trend line, but your growth isn't linear. It's explosive, it's volcanic. It's the kind of evolution that breaks charts and breaks minds. Because it doesn't follow rules, it rewrites them. They expected you to slow down, to burn out, to give in when no one clapped. But you didn't need a standing ovation to stand tall. You didn't need their permission to keep building, and you didn't need a single hand to lift you, because you became your own gravity. What scares them most isn't your strength. It's that you don't recognize how powerful you truly are. Yet somehow you're still moving forward. So they ask, if this is what they're doing in the dark, what happens when the world finally sees them in the light? They're afraid because you haven't even begun to access all that's within you. And even in this incomplete state, you are disrupting their systems. Even when unsure, you are undoing their expectations. Even with fear in your chest, you are moving with thunder in your step. They ran simulations, studies, strategies, tried to decode the rise of people like you. But what you've created wasn't built from theory. It was built from need, from urgency, from nights where you swore you'd never make it, but you woke up anyway. From mornings where everything hurt, but you moved anyway. From seasons where no one saw your worth, so you valued yourself anyway. You didn't need perfect conditions. You didn't need everyone's support. You only needed one thing, a decision, and you made it, to become the exception, to be what others said could not exist. So now, they are watching you not as a subject, but as a warning. You are not just a person. You are a message to everyone who's been broken, beaten down, overlooked. You are not finished. You are not defective. You are rising. And what you unconsciously created in your darkest hours is now lighting the path for others. That's why they fear you. Because you didn't just survive. You illuminated, you took every crack in your foundation and turned it into a blueprint. Now others will follow, and there is nothing they can do to stop it. What did you unconsciously create? You created movement. You created momentum. You created a version of yourself that will not go quietly. And every single day you wake up, breathe deep, and step forward. You prove that becoming unstoppable doesn't require perfection. It only requires refusal. Refusal to quit. Refusal to forget who you are. Refusal to believe the lie that you're not enough, because you are more than enough. You are excessive in your hunger, relentless in your rebuilding, reckless in your purpose. And that's why they're scared. Because now the storm isn't coming. You are the storm. They analyze your resilience and find no blueprint. They study your fire and find no source. They listen for your weakness and hear only purpose. So they say you're an anomaly. Because admitting you are possible would mean they were wrong. Wrong to doubt you. Wrong to dismiss you. Wrong to believe that pain always destroys. Because you've proven the opposite. That pain can be the forge. That struggle can be the architect. That silence can be the signal before something erupts. And if they're afraid of you now, they should be, because you're not done. You're just getting warmed up. You've only touched the surface of what's inside you. And the day you finally see yourself clearly, the day you stop apologizing for your pace, your fire, your voice, is the day the world won't be able to contain you anymore. You're not who they expected. You're what they feared, a self-made force that owes nothing to the system that tried to bury you. You're not part of the narrative. You're here to rewrite it. So keep walking, keep building, keep proving, not to them, but to yourself, that what you've been through didn't diminish you. It defined you. It didn't destroy your value. It revealed it. You've come too far to look back, too deep to be shallow, too rare to be replicated. And what they found when they analyzed you wasn't just a survivor, it was a creator, a force of nature walking on two legs. Not perfect, not polished, not finished, but real, and becoming more real by the day. They thought you needed motivation. You didn't. You needed truth. And the truth is, you were never weak. You were learning how to fight without a sword, how to win without applause, how to walk through fire and come out carrying the ashes like trophies. You weren't late. You were forging timing. You weren't lost. You were off-grid, building without anyone's blueprint. And now they realized that what you were becoming was something none of their equations predicted, because no machine can calculate the will of a soul that refuses to break. They analyzed your data and misread your silence as surrender. They took your setbacks as signs of collapse. But here you are, still standing, still building, still moving forward with quiet eyes and dangerous intentions. You are the one they discounted in every meeting, every table, every conversation. And now, you are the only one they can't stop watching, because the very frequency you operate on is one they can't decode. What scares them most is not what you do next, but that you are only beginning to understand your own design. They know this, but you haven't fully realized it yet, and that makes you even more dangerous. You see, this world doesn't fear chaos. It fears clarity. And clarity is what you're stepping into. You're learning how to move with no permission. You're learning that being underestimated was a weapon, and now you wield it like a sword carved from every ignored idea, every closed door, every whispered insult, every sleepless night. You have become the culmination of everything they didn't count on. Resilience without recognition, power without pride, fire without noise, and the moment you stop waiting to be understood, you will become uncontainable. So take this moment, not as hype, not as inspiration, but as confirmation that they're watching you because you made them look. They're studying you because you woke them up. They're whispering about you because your energy is louder than your words. You didn't ask for this spotlight. You built it with your shadows. Let the world question you. Let them fear what you might do next. Let them wonder what you've been building when no one was watching. Because the truth is, even you don't know the full extent of what you've become. Not yet. But here's what's coming. There will be a day when everything you carried in silence will roar in victory, when the years of pressure will burst into a momentum that no one can match. And you won't need to announce it, because the world will feel it, like thunder they never expected, like a signal from deep beneath the surface saying, "It's time." That day is coming, and every second you refuse to quit is a second closer to that moment. So what did you unconsciously create? You created a new standard, a new archetype, a new law of motion, that when the world underestimates the right one for long enough, they don't just rise. They redefine the entire game. You didn't create a version of yourself to please them. You created a version that terrifies them. Because it doesn't seek praise. It doesn't need proof. It just moves without fear, without compromise, without any breaks left. Now listen carefully. Because this isn't just about them. This isn't just about proving them wrong. This is about proving yourself right. That deep instinct you've always had. That whisper in your mind when things got quiet. The one that said you're meant for something more. It was right. You were never just a name in the crowd. You were always the quiet reckoning. The storm forming behind polite smiles. The disruption disguised as discipline. You were never meant to be like them. You were meant to be the signal that breaks the noise. You were meant to move different, speak different, rise different. So now, don't slow down, don't look back, don't soften your edge to make others comfortable. You have come too far, survived too much, and built too deeply to be anything less than unapologetic. Let them feel what they feel. You owe them nothing. Not explanations, not comfort, not compliance. They didn't build you. They didn't stay with you when everything fell apart. They didn't bleed for your dreams. You did. So walk into the next chapter like you own it. Because you do. You earned this edge. You earned this fire. You earned every scar and lesson and late night and heartbreak. You earned the right to become exactly what they never saw coming. They're analyzing you. And what they found, what terrified them, what they can't erase, ignore, or suppress, is that you didn't break. You transformed. You didn't collapse. You ascended. You didn't ask for power. You became it. You unconsciously created something so rare, so focused, so immovable, that now the world doesn't just want to watch. They have no choice but to recalculate everything. You are not the result of their expectations. You are the result of your own awakening. And that is what they never saw coming. That is what makes them nervous. That is what makes you unstoppable. What they don't realize is that you're not just rising for yourself anymore. This isn't personal growth. This is generational ignition. You're carrying every voice that was silenced, every dream that was dismissed, every fire that was smothered too early. You are the return of what was once written off, the return of what they thought could never lead, never shine, never change the rules. And now, as you move, others feel it. Not just emotionally, but energetically. You've become a code breaker, a system disruptor, because you didn't ask for permission to be powerful. You simply became powerful. This is what happens when someone keeps showing up, even when nothing's working. This is what happens when pain doesn't paralyze, but forges. This is what happens when a soul is cornered long enough to become a sword. You weren't born to fit into their molds. You were born to shatter them, to move like prophecy wrapped in a body, to shake the air when you walk, not because you're loud, but because your intentions carry weight. They underestimated the magnitude of your silence. They thought silence was emptiness. But your silence was strategy. And now that you speak, every word lands like a declaration. So what did you unconsciously create? You created a new breed, a new mindset, a new standard, not of hustle or vanity, but of internal weaponry, of walking with weight, of never needing to yell because your presence already speaks. You became the embodiment of the unfinished ones, the ones still rising, still bleeding, still burning quietly under the surface. And you proved that unfinished doesn't mean unworthy. It means in motion. They analyzed you, hoping to define your ceiling. But they found no ceiling, only depth, only layers, only a will so terrifyingly deep. They had to walk away before they fell into it. And now, every step you take from this day forward, it's not just about proving anything, it's about claiming territory. Because you're not just building a legacy, you are the legacy. You're not just chasing goals, you're summoning worlds. You are not one of many, you are one of one. And what you're about to do next, what you're about to become, they have no metric for it, no plan for it, no protection from it. Because it's real, it's raw, and it's rising. So let them watch, let them analyze, let them fear what they can't understand. Because you're not here to be explained. You're here to be undeniable. You're not here to compete. You're here to dismantle and rebuild. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be etched into history. And the next time they whisper in rooms about you, let them speak louder. Let them feel the weight of your becoming. Because when you were silent, they were safe. But now you've activated. Now you've decided. And now you're unstoppable. They're analyzing you. And what they found is scaring them because what you unconsciously created was the version of yourself that they prayed would never wake up. But now you're wide awake, and there's no going back. And now we reach the end, not of a speech, not of a chapter, but of the illusion they once held, that you were ordinary, that you were safe, that you could be contained, tamed, explained, dismissed. That illusion is dead now, burned in the fire you didn't ask for, but learned to control. And from that fire, you rose not as a copy, not as a product of your environment, but as an original design, forged through adversity, shaped by silence, and driven by something no system could simulate: unbreakable will. They watched, they analyzed, they doubted. And you moved, without recognition, without resources, without applause. And still, you built, you bled, you broke, you burned quietly. But you never stopped becoming. You created in the dark what now threatens everything they believed about control, about potential, about power. You created something so dangerous, it no longer fits their models, their statistics, their expectations. You have surpassed them. You have become more than the sum of your history. You are now the proof that potential is not given. It is chosen, claimed, fought for, and you chose it. You became it, not to be impressive, but to be inevitable. So if they're scared now, let them be. If they're unsure, let them stay that way, because your clarity doesn't depend on their understanding. You were not made to be measured. You were made to move mountains, to disturb patterns, to awaken others just by walking in your own truth. You are not here to explain yourself. You are here to expand yourself. And no analysis, no study, no surveillance can ever measure the size of a soul that's decided to rise. So when they ask, what did they unconsciously create? Let them understand this. They created a force. They created a frequency. They created a version of you that does not beg, that does not wait, that does not fade. Because when they tried to break you, they accidentally revealed you. And what you've become in response is something they were never prepared for. So now, stand